If this is you, sitting there late at night, staring at your phone, feeling that knot in your chest every time her name pops up on your screen, wondering why she seems to pull away the moment you try to get closer. Maybe this feels familiar. You text first, you initiate plans, you show up, and yet somehow she drifts, as if the more you give, the less she values it. You replay every conversation, every small interaction, asking yourself, did I overstep? Did I seem too eager? Why can't she see me for who I am? You tell yourself you're being patient, that love is about giving, about showing her that you care, but deep down, a part of you aches. That ache isn't just from her distance. It's from the creeping realization that respect, real respect, doesn't feel like this. It doesn't chase you down. It doesn't require you to bend over backward to prove your worth. And yet, every time you pull closer, it seems like she slips further away, leaving you in that confusing fog of doubt and longing. Maybe you've tried stepping back before, just a little, testing the waters, only to panic the moment she doesn't reach for you. That panic eats at your pride, your confidence, your sense of self. You hate feeling this powerless, trapped in the loop of caring more than she does. You wonder if it's something about you, something you're missing, something you're doing wrong, and that thought alone is exhausting. What if the truth you're avoiding is simpler than you think? What if the respect you're craving, the admiration, the magnetic pull you want from her, can only come when you finally let go, when you detach completely and stop chasing what doesn't naturally come to you? What would it feel like to see her start noticing you, only after you stop needing her to notice at all? Most men get this wrong because they confuse attention with respect. They think that if they show up, if they text first, if they bend over backwards to prove they care, she'll automatically value them. That's not how it works. Respect isn't earned through chasing or over-investing. It's earned through presence, self-possession, and the quiet confidence that comes from not needing her approval to feel whole. You can't demand admiration. You can only command it by living your life with integrity, by walking your own path, and by holding your standards without apology. Here's the hard truth: detachment isn't about playing games or being cold. It's about establishing boundaries and understanding your own value. It's about showing her, without words, that your time, your energy, and your emotions aren't for anyone to take for granted. Most men react out of fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. Fear drives them to overcompensate, to chase, to beg for attention. That fear destroys attraction. Detachment, on the other hand, creates an undeniable pull because it signals that you are complete on your own. Masculine energy thrives in this balanced presence and independence, strength and calm. When you detach completely, you demonstrate two core principles. First, that you are anchored in yourself and your purpose. Second, that you are willing to walk away from anything that doesn't align with your standards. That combination, strength without neediness, is magnetic. It doesn't push her away. It makes her question why she didn't respect you earlier. Most men never learn this because society conditions them to overgive, overtext, overexplain. You don't need to prove anything. You simply need to exist as the man who knows his worth, and in that quiet confidence, respect follows naturally. The question isn't whether she'll notice. It's whether you can finally step into the kind of presence that makes respect inevitable. He's sitting on the edge of his bed, phone in hand, the glow from the screen painting the walls a soft, hollow blue. He's just texted her again. Another, "Hey, how's your day?" Another little lifeline thrown into a void that doesn't answer back. The room is silent except for the faint hum of the city outside, cars rolling past like reminders that life keeps moving, whether he's invited along or not. He scrolls through old messages, the laughter, the little inside jokes, the moments that felt like connection, and he feels that familiar tightness in his chest, that slow, sinking ache of wanting too much from someone who doesn't seem to notice. He thinks about calling her, maybe showing up, maybe just one more attempt to be seen, to matter, but something inside hesitates. He catches himself. The truth he's been avoiding flickers in his mind, Maybe chasing her, needing her attention, proving himself isn't the way to make her respect him. Maybe he's been giving too much of himself into emptiness, expecting gratitude from someone who doesn't understand the value of presence. He sets the phone down. The screen goes dark, but the weight doesn't vanish immediately. Instead, a strange clarity emerges, like the first breath after being underwater. He leans back, closes his eyes, and feels the silence, not as emptiness, but as space to reclaim himself. For the first time, he realizes detachment isn't loss, it's power. It's the quiet insistence that he is whole, with or without her acknowledgement. Hours later, he's out in the cool night air, walking through streets lit by distant neon, feeling the world move around him while he moves in rhythm with himself. Somewhere inside, he senses a shift. Her curiosity, her attention, her respect will follow, not because he chased it, not because he begged, but because he finally stopped needing it. And in that stillness, he understands the respect he's been longing for isn't something she can give. It's something he claims the moment he lets go. Most men believe that showing constant attention equals value. They think if they text first, plan everything, and bend over backwards to prove they care, respect will follow automatically. That's a lie you've been sold. Respect isn't earned by chasing. It's earned by standing in your own life, by being a man who doesn't need validation to feel whole. The moment you stop overgiving, the moment you detach from outcome, she starts seeing you differently, not because you changed her, but because you remembered yourself. Another false belief is that detachment is cold or manipulative. You've been told to play hard to get or send mixed signals like it's some trick. The truth is, detachment isn't a game, it's clarity. It's the calm, unshakable confidence of a man who knows his worth and refuses to hand it away to anyone who doesn't respect it. She senses it immediately, even if she doesn't understand why. A third misconception is thinking that her respect comes from effort, sacrifice, or emotional submission. The reality is attraction and respect thrive on boundaries, presence, and independence. You don't earn it through need. You command it by existing fully in your power. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Respect can't be begged. It can only be recognized. The moment you stop chasing her is the moment she starts noticing you. When you break these false beliefs, you see the pattern clearly. Men overextend, women pull away, and the cycle repeats. But when you detach, when you stand in yourself, the entire dynamic flips. The respect, the intrigue, the admiration, it all comes naturally. And you finally realize this isn't about her changing, it's about you becoming the man she can't ignore. This is what the 1% headman understands: respect can't be demanded, it can only be embodied. He knows that attention is not value, and approval is not power. He doesn't chase validation because he's already anchored in himself. He moves through the world with a calm certainty that his worth isn't measured by who notices him, but by the integrity with which he lives his life. He doesn't panic when someone pulls away, because he's learned that presence without need is magnetic. This is how he leads, with presence, not pressure. He doesn't overtext, overexplain, or overcommit. He shows up fully in his own life, his routines, his ambitions, his purpose. And in doing so, he naturally commands attention and respect. There's no manipulation, no games. His power comes from his detachment, from knowing he is complete with or without her acknowledgement. That quiet confidence isn't loud or flashy, but it pulls more than desperation ever could. He understands timing, not as a tool to control her, but as a reflection of his own rhythm. He knows when to engage and when to step back, not out of fear, but out of principle. The detachment he practices is a declaration: I am not here to be anyone's crutch. I am here to walk my own path. That is magnetic. That is respected. While most men overextend themselves and erode their own value, the 1% headman protects it. He doesn't sweat uncertainty or try to force connection. He trusts that respect and admiration come to the man who is grounded, self-sufficient, and unwavering in his presence. This is the mindset that flips the dynamic completely. The more he detaches, the more he commands. The less he needs, the more he attracts. And in that space, he is untouchable, not through control, but through mastery of himself. He's staring out the window, the city lights blurring through tired eyes, feeling that familiar itch in his chest. The one that whispers, I need her to see me. And then, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. The longing that used to tighten around his ribs loosens, and he notices it. He's been waiting, hoping, leaning into a ghost of approval that was never his to hold. For the first time, he remembers himself. Not the version that bends, that chases, that over-explains, but the version that stands quietly, fully anchored in his own life. He realizes that respect doesn't come from proximity or sacrifice. It comes from presence, from the man who doesn't plead, who doesn't shrink to fit someone else's gaze. A small, almost inaudible smile touches his lips. The phone on the table feels lighter. The room feels bigger. The night feels expansive. He isn't empty. He's awake. Every moment he spent doubting, chasing, needing, it all dissolves into clarity. He didn't lose her. He found himself. And in that stillness, he feels it, a magnetic pull, not born of effort, but of quiet self-possession. He no longer waits. He no longer questions. He remembers his worth fully. And in that remembrance, everything else falls into place. You don't earn respect by chasing it. You earn it by standing in yourself, by living fully without needing her to validate your worth. Every text you didn't send, every moment you stepped back, wasn't loss. It was power returning to you. The pull you've been craving, the attention that felt just out of reach, only comes when you stop reaching. When you detach, you stop hoping for permission to be valued, and suddenly it's given freely, naturally. The moment you stop needing her is the moment she starts noticing the man you've always been.